forgiveness and having a plank in your own eye. So you read the Lord's Prayer and it says, if you don't forgive, neither will you be forgiven. It says, why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye when you have a plank in your own eye, you hypocrite? And they stop there, they don't read on. But at the same time, it says in Luke 17, if your brother sins against you, rebuke him, and if he repents, forgive him. What is that? Well, the Lord's Prayer is telling you not to hold a grudge. So love your enemy. You know, if people stole and robbed and cheated and murdered and raped, and there was no accountability, it was just chaos. So no, you tell them that's wrong, and you restrain them if you can, but you continue to love them. You feed them, exhort them, as you do your child. So you don't hold a grudge. You forgave them in your heart. You gave the debt to God. And in reality, you're giving yourself a gift because you're not being bitter. You know, Paul said to Simon the sorcerer, I see that you're poisoned by bitterness, meaning he had held many grudges. And reconciliation is when they make amends. So Jesus said, if you go to the altar and you remember you did your brother wrong, first leave your gift and then go be reconciled to your brother. So when you read Luke 17, it says, exhort him. And the Greek word is ektimiso. Now that word was the word used that when you would go before a judge, saying, he cheated me, I believe he owes me this amount. And the judge would make his judgment, and he would say, pay this amount. So a way to translate that passage is if your brother has done you wrong, tell him what he must do to reconcile with you. But keep in mind that what you require of him, God will use for you. So, you know, if you're going to expect mercy from God one day, you ought to give mercy. So a lot of times when people are asking me for reconciliation, I ask them to do something that I myself would do, but it's only just to prove their heart. And usually to undo it. Like, let's say I was a shopkeeper and someone stole a candy bar, and the kid came in and I said, oh, let it go. Well, the kid isn't going to necessarily learn to not steal from that. Let's say the kid doesn't have the money and he admits it to me. You know, probably the first time I would accept his admittance and him not paying for it, but if he did it again, I would say, okay, I need you to hold a sign in front of my store that says that I stole a candy bar from Mr. Willis and I'm sorry, for 1 hour. You know, and then I would tell people, hey, encourage him for having done the right thing, and that he should learn not to steal because he wouldn't want to be stolen from. Now that's not to shame him as much as it is to just reinforce in him this isn't something you'd want done to you. Now about getting the plank out of your own eye, what they fail to see is then you will see clearly to help your brother. Everyone, anytime I've ever heard that verse quoted, it was an excuse to not be held accountable. I asked one lady, she goes, get the plank out of your own eye. I didn't even say she did something wrong. I said, I'm confused about this. Obviously she felt convicted or something, I don't know. And then I'd gone to a church after holding someone accountable, after having a reconciliation meeting, and then they flip-flopped. And they said that I was ruining their witness, they called it, their reputation, and I should get the plank out of my own eye. And I'm like, wait a minute, so you're saying I have a plank in my eye, while saying they have a speck in their eye. So, but what you really mean is I should never, ever point out something in someone's eye, yet you're pointing out something's in my eye. So why is it you get to point out something's in my eye, but I don't? It's just manipulation. It's hypocrisy. And the word is eye. If I have something in my eye, I'm not blind. Just there's something in that one eye. And it's singular. So I believe it's talking about motive. Why are you rebuking your brother? Why are you telling him it's wrong? You know, is it projection? You know, if your goal is reconciliation, if your goal is the kingdom of God and His will, go tell him. Even if you're going to do it wrong, because you're going to learn to do it right. Just be very, very apologetic when you realize you've done it wrong. I had a reconciliation meeting, the guy's like, and you da-da-da-da-da. And I said, yeah, you know, I did that, but the follow-up email says I was sorry for that. So you're trying to use it against me when I already apologized for it without you asking me for an apology. What is your goal here? I'm trying to have peace with you and live in peace and help each other be peaceful and friendly. You know, if you have a friend and you're a kid and this guy throws rocks at you, you're not going to be friends with him, right? And that's usually how kids deal with it. What God's trying to teach us is tell your friend, hey, please don't throw rocks, that's not cool. And because as adults we don't really have an authority around, it's if he says whatever, I can throw rocks, you ask the other friends, is it cool that he throws rocks? Well, no. Well, let's agree that until he agrees to not throw rocks, we're not going to play with him. Let's still share our lunch with him. You know, but not eat our lunch with him, so that he can think about it, and he'll change his mind to not throw rocks. That's really what it is. It's chaotic. People sometimes get worse. Pharaoh got worse. Moses came to help the Israelites, did a few miracles. They're like, wow, God sent Moses. Moses goes to talk to Pharaoh. Pharaoh's like, forget you. And then he made their jobs and their lives harder. And wow, did they flop, saying, Moses, God sent Moses. Why are you here and why would God do this to us? They began to speak badly of God because life got harder. You know, and that's the problem with most people. They only think about this life. They only think about pleasure and everything being cool and easy, and they're not willing to fight psychologically. Take care.